My name is Kathy Landold. I am ASHI's Meetings, Exhibits, and Sponsorships Coordinator. With us on this call is Stephanie Ritter, ASHI Meeting Manager, Kathy Giovetsis, ASHI CEO, and Dr. Prabhakar Pathetti, Chair to the ASHI Educational Workshops. We all thank you for taking the time to join us today. It's really wonderful to see your smiling faces. Your American Society for Histocompatibility and Immunogenetics, we chose to have this call because we thought there might be some mystery about what happens at the ASHI Educational Workshops, and we just wanted to take some time to share. So this professional development opportunity covers basic to advanced techniques and technologies with interesting cases. It's a very hands-on experience with pertinent information that is a good fit for bench technologists who want to better understand clinical application. It's also the perfect setting for those who are new or want to grow in the field and boost their knowledge and practice in the area of histocompatibility and immunogenetics. So, our speakers are captivating and knowledgeable. You'll even hear directly from those who are impacted by your work. And there's really something for every type of lab, and the topics that are covered apply to your daily work. So it's definitely an engaging and worthwhile learning experience. And you'll really get the full benefits and camaraderie of the workshop, if you're able to join us in person, because you'll have that opportunity to network and build relationships and knowledge share in a more intimate setting. But, with that, before we jump in, I do have some additional housekeeping items that, lines are muted. We're going to have questions. They're welcome in the chat. We're going to answer those questions at the end. And during Q&A, like if you've attended an ASHI educational workshop in the past, we invite you to share your experience. So to get started, I welcome Dr. Prabhakar Pathetti to just review the true science of the meeting.
Can I share my screen, please? I'll start sharing.
Are you able to share?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Yeah. After a brief pause for in-person regional meetings due to the pandemic, we are cautiously back to an in-person workshop this year. As you might have noticed, the name of the regional is now changed to educational workshops because the pandemic made way for virtual meetings and brought in attendees from distant countries. So it is not regional anymore. And for that reason, we decided to have a virtual workshop in place as well. So we will have an in-person workshop in Fort Lauderdale, June 23rd to 25th, which will be recorded and played at virtual meeting in July on 22nd and 29th. So with all the faculty coming live and addressing the question and answer session. So the ACHI approved continuing education for each workshop is 1.95 CEC, so 13 contact hours. I hope you got a chance to review the workshop webpage. So for the faculty for this year, I'm going to introduce now. We have Lyndon Galt from Gift of Hope, Illinois. She is a member of this workshops committee and also faculty this year. So she moderated virtual meeting sessions in past years. So she's the driving force for this committee, as you can symbolically see her in the driving seat. And we have Rob Lusky from Dalhousie University, Canada, joining us to present a fascinating session. So please look out for that. And we also have John Lunge from LifeLink, Tampa, Florida. He's the current vice chair of UNOS Histocompatibility Committee, presenting for us topics on UNOS. And we have Dr. Prakash Rao from New Jersey Sharing Network, presenting a fabulous session on stem cells. So last but not least, we have a keynote speaker, Dr. Ryan Shaban, who did his cardiac surgery residency in Germany and is a cardiac surgeon and research fellow at MGH, Boston, presenting a timely topic on xenotransplantation. So I hope you also got a chance to look at the program for this year. So coming to the program this year, we will start with a keynote speech on the latest pig heart transplant in man. There's no gender bias here. It was indeed in man at the University of Maryland Medical Center. So this transplantation brought the xenotransplantation to the forefront, and we have invited Dr. Shaban from the group that was indirectly involved in the pig heart transplantation in man. So Dr. Shaban will give a history of xenotransplantation, the challenges that were overcome and the challenges that need to be overcome, and the challenges faced in the recent xenotransplantation. So we have Dr. John Lunch here. I will let him say a few words about his talk on Friday. So he will be addressing session 1 and session 2. John, do you want to say a few words?
Certainly. I really do look forward to seeing everybody in person here down in sunny Florida as we go over to the East Coast around Fort Lauderdale to have some great education and fellowship to be able to meet everybody once again. So I will be kicking off the workshop this year in the Friday morning sessions, talking first on a talk we've entitled Finding Forever Homes, and that's talking about deceased donor organ donation and allocation process. And we're going to be looking really how organ donation and allocation works within the United States systems, but also venture into some other countries around the world to see how things happen. Because it's really important that we, really take a step back and think about deceased donor organ donation and really how these things truly work and how we can actually get these organs so we can perform our testing and help get people transplanted. In my second session, Changing Times, I'm going to be looking at the new kidney allocation process and really focusing on its impact to histocompatibility laboratories. As many of us know, there's been some landmark changes within kidney allocation, and that a lot of this does have at-home impact on us within the laboratory. And so we're going to take some time to really discuss what these changes were in the allocation process and talk a little bit about how it impacted our laboratories. So I really look forward to seeing everybody in Fort Lauderdale at the end of June, and can't wait to see so many friends and new friends again. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, John. Thank you very much. So in the afternoon, we have a session by Dr. Prakash Rao titled Deceased Donor Stem Cells, a Viable Alternative to Living Donor Stem Cells. Dr. Rao will present data on isolation of stem cells from research-consented deceased donors. By the way, I think Dr. Rao hasn't joined us this afternoon. If so, I would have let him speak about it. So Dr. Rao will present data on isolation of stem cells from research-consented deceased donors and discuss how isolation of stem cells from deceased donors could be a routine practice to provide a viable alternative to living donor stem cells, increasing accessibility for patients awaiting stem cell therapies. In the second talk, titled Applications of Deceased Donor Stem Cells in Organ Transplantation, Dr. Rao will discuss usage of organs, tissues, or cells that are not eligible for transplant for the purpose of developing new treatments and therapies. And he will also update us about the research on 3D printing of organs and tissue for transplant and the designing of organoids and organs on a chip. So that will be it on Friday, and on Saturday we will start with Lyndon's talks. Lyndon, do you want to say a few words about your talk, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhakar. So yes, I will get our second day started off in the morning with 2 sessions surrounding quality control. The first session is standards for quality control in the HLA laboratory, and we are going to basically do an overview of what the quality control standards are, where you can find them, and then kind of their role in HLA procedures that we're used to in our laboratories. We will also review commonly cited quality control standards and look at their frequency over the years. And then for our second session, which is titled Best Practices for Quality Control in HLA Laboratory, we are going to discuss what best practices are and their impact in laboratory processes. And then we're going to break out into group discussions on problem solving and best practices using a few quality control scenarios. So hopefully we'll come out of this with a good idea on what the standards are, where you can find them, and then maybe we'll even have a few new ideas that laboratories can use to improve their quality control practices.
Wonderful. Thank you, Linda. So that afternoon, we will have talks by Rob Lewski. It's a workshop on best practices in HLA antibody testing and analysis, part 1 and part 2. He will discuss ways of analyzing and interpreting HLA antibody screening data. The sera are sent to 3 different labs. After the labs analyze the results, we will see how independent labs interpret their results. And the platform for single antigen bead assay may be one or both in these labs. So attendees were also sent some CSV files of the same data for them to do the analysis. We will discuss the analysis and the findings at the in-person workshop. Your pre-work analysis submission is due by June 2nd. So please look out for this exciting session. And on Saturday, we also have, let me stop sharing this and I will start sharing something else. So we also have a donor and recipient session, which is a highlight year after year. So this year, to share the donor's experience, a father will be with us who lost his beautiful 20-year-old daughter to a tragic pool accident during her winter break. 4 recipients benefited from her donation of organs, in addition to her eye donations. In honor of his daughter and for him to deal with his grief, he cycled over 2,000 miles across the country. Through his ride, he brought awareness to organ donation. He stopped on Father's Day to meet his daughter's heart recipient to hear the heartbeat. You will be surprised how many organ donation registrations he brought about. Wait to hear about this from him at the in-person meeting. And to share a recipient experience, so we will have Scott with us. He was born with congenital heart defect. He received his heart transplantation when he was only 16 months old. He later in his life received 2 more heart transplants and he won gold medal in bowling. So he's proud to have received Heart of a Marine. So this will sure be a moving session. So please look out for that. So with that, I will pass it on to Kathy to talk about the rest of the program, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Pathetti. So again, we invite you to put your questions in the chat or Holden will be getting to Q&A shortly. We're just going to take some time to cover, some things to do in Fort Lauderdale, a bit about logistics and important deadlines. Let me see if I can just share my screen as well, so you can take a look at. So I included in the chat a website to our event page, but so Fort Lauderdale has 24 miles of golden beaches. There are hotels, restaurants, shopping destinations like this Las Olas Boulevard. They're open and ready to welcome you. It's a really great setting to unwind while you're enjoying a change of scenery. Fort Lauderdale has spas and airboat tours of the Everglades, dive adventures, Segway tours of the city, and helicopter rides along the most beautiful stretch of eastern seaboard, or you can cruise the intra-coastal waterway with Greater Fort Lauderdale's tours and sightseeing cruises. We do have one offsite event planned that ASHI meeting manager Stephanie Ritter will share with you, so I'll let her do that. Thank you.
Kathy, so we just wanted to bring to your attention that we're hosting a tech night this year. It's on Friday evening. It's going to start at 8 o'clock. And while our host hotel for the meeting is at the Westin, which is oceanfront, the tech night, we wanted to give you a little bit different scenery, let you walk around Fort Lauderdale a little bit. So we're going to have you walk a few blocks over to the Kimpton, which has a beautiful rooftop bar and pool. And we're going to have a small section kind of like roped off for our guests. We're going to have some light hors d'oeuvres, and then the bar will be open for everyone to enjoy. And we're going to have some toasts from ASHI. And I think they might be with us right now, but Doreen, Cece, and Carrie Killian will most likely be your host that night. So anything that you want to bring to them, any kind of questions, any kind of discussion points, if you want to further discuss any of the topics that were covered on Friday, or just have questions about ASHI in general, or HLA in general, they are going to be your hosts to go to, and that will be Friday night. Other logistics, I'm going to focus on workshop 1, which is in Fort Lauderdale. But if you have questions about workshop 2, which is our virtual workshop, July 22nd and 29th, feel free to ask those as well. But just logistically, we would ask that you fly into the Fort Lauderdale airport. It's about a 15-minute ride from the Fort Lauderdale airport to the Westin. And we are booking our sleeping rooms at the Westin. So that information is also on our website if you need to book your sleeping room. Our registration is up and running, so we are actively taking registrations. And I just wanted to go over a few deadlines, and I'm going to let Kathy do some of them. I'm going to do the first 2 since I'm talking about them. On May 30th is our hotel deadline, so you'll definitely want to book your room. We are selling out rather quickly. We do want you to book your room so you can book at the ASHI rate. So please do that. If you need a link to that site, please put that in the chat or we will send that to you. And then I'll let Kathy do the rest of our deadlines that are coming up.
Yeah, so sorry, May 29th is our case study deadline for those who are joining us and would like to share any of that work. June 1st is actually our deadline if you were interested in we have a moderator opportunity for the face-to-face in June. So it's just a really great way to get your name out there and network. So it involves formal announcements and just housekeeping. June 2nd is our deadline to anonymously submit any pre-work for the best practices workshop. And then June 6th is the deadline for the early bird registration rate. So, all that information as mentioned is in our website, but just wanted to point those particular dates out. So yeah, I didn't know if anybody has any questions. This would be a great opportunity to unmute and ask them. And again, I invite anyone who's attended an ASHI educational workshop or otherwise known as regionals in the past to kind of talk about and share your experience.
So I do see Doreen has her hand up.
Go ahead, Doreen.
Yeah, so for the antibody workshop, I don't know if the deadline's going to be June 2nd or not, because we have to, the labs that are doing the wet work have to meet about the results and then give people time to analyze themselves, right? So Rob's not on this call?
No.
Yeah, so our lab was one of them that's doing it, and we're missing 1 sample out of the 3, so we're going to get that Wednesday. So hopefully the 3 labs can get together and talk about it. And I'm not sure when the other labs or participants will be getting their CSV files, but hopefully soon after that. So I'm not sure if June 2nd is a hard cutoff because May 31st is a holiday. Yeah, and that only leaves 2 days.
Well, June 2nd is our cut.
Prabhakar?
Oh, I think Prabhakar is.
Yeah, what is that?
Did you hear anything from Rob?
No. I
Yeah.
only heard about June 2nd deadline, but
Okay.
we
For
can
the
always
pre-work.
extend it to accommodate it. I don't see a problem in that.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely communicate that if that's the case where we would end up extending that deadline. We'll communicate that to everyone.
Thanks.
I have a question that came directly to me in the chat. I think this is probably a good one for Kathy Landel. It says, I'd love to attend at Fort Lauderdale, but my lab budget is small. I guess we're looking for suggestions about how to get around that or how to get the funds to come down.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a great question. I mean, we kind of suggest maybe sharing a room, maybe if you're local to the area, maybe a carpool. We do have a support letter on our meeting website, so I'll share my screen so you can see where that is. So we have one for the face-to-face meeting and a support letter for the virtual meeting. And even though the travel award has closed for the face-to-face meeting, there is a travel award for those who want to join us virtually. So that's for ASHI members. And there's a deadline of Friday, July 8th for that. But let me just share my screen. I hope you can all see. And let's see here. So if you go to the website and go to register for workshop 1, go to need support to attend. And this is the sample letter. that you can just download it. I think it's a Word file. If you're attending to join virtually, just go to workshop 2 and go need support to attend. And the page looks very similar. So, and there's a letter there on the website. So, and I actually received a question as well. So Steph, this is one I guess I'll direct to you. It says, what preventative measures is ASHI taking in regards to COVID?
So that's a great question. I spoke with the hotel in Fort Lauderdale, which is part of Broward County, and currently there are no mandates or regulations from the CDC that are taking place at the hotel. ASHI always follows the CDC guidelines, and right now there are no mask mandates. There's no social distancing protocols. We're basically back to the 2019 way of hosting meetings. So we really, at ASHI, want to let everyone know it's what you're comfortable with. So if you feel like you are more comfortable wearing a mask while you're in Fort Lauderdale with us, by all means, feel free. The hotel staff is not required to mask, but we encourage any participants that feel more safe to do that to definitely feel free to wear your mask. I may wear mine depending on what's going on. If we still have a month, and we never know with the ever-changing landscape what could happen. But right now there's no requirements in place.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Does anybody else have any questions? We'd love to hear from you, or anyone who's attended a workshop in the past would like to share, their experience. We welcome those comments as well. Oh, go ahead, Walt.
Well, I have both attended and spoke as faculty, so I can say that it's a great experience for all new and seasoned technologists. You always learn something. The faculty is always great. I'm very proud of Lyndon. I'm glad to see her on faculty this year. Old friends like John, of course. So you'll get a great experience. You'll get a lot of education, and it's worth the time to register and show up. It's just an overall great experience.
Thank you for sharing.
Thanks, Walt. Lyndon
Go
has
ahead,
a question.
Lyndon.
Yeah, and if I can just add to that, if you are new and you're a little hesitant to do like an annual meeting, which tends to be much bigger in terms of people and that, this is a great kind of first step to make too. It's technologist based, so it's things that you're going to be doing in the lab that impact you, and it's much smaller, so you get to meet people who are kind of in a similar situation, and it kind of helps you kind of get a good foothold in the community. So
Thank you for
Thanks,
sharing.
Lyndon.
And Lyndon, let them know that it's not as scary as they might think it is.
no, it's not as scary. No, I thought I was going to need Walt there to hold my hand. No, it's a very welcoming community. It's a wonderful experience. I have also, like I said, I've moderated. I've done a case study. It's just a really great way to kind of get going in it and try things and do things that are new. So.
Thanks,
Thank
Lyndon.
you.
This is Stephanie. I just wanted to say I put my email in the chat to everyone in case you have questions that you want to ask later offline. Feel free to send me an email and we can chat that way as well.
And I thank Yasmin for leaving a comment. Her mic's not available, but she shared it's a great experience, and she wishes to participate and highly recommends the workshop. So, and I'll put my email in the chat as well. Great. Any other questions or comments? So I just want to share my screen again. I just want to thank you all again for joining us. Hope this was helpful, and hope to see you at the face-to-face ASHI educational workshop in June, or online at the July workshops. If you're not already following ASHI on social media, I just wanted to share, you have Stephanie's email and my email. There's another email, we'll get all of them. If you have any questions, you can email meetings@ashi-hla.org. But yeah, just wanted to thank everybody again for joining us.